That's so brilliant! This video is sponsored by Kase filters. It is amazing how the quality of filters has increased over the time. I tried a lot of different filters over the past few years, and I have to say, there are really big differences. And quite interesting is that technology got on such a high level meanwhile that the way of how I decide on the right filters is totally different to that what it was some years ago. The right filters in landscape photography, how I choose them, is revealed in this video. Hi my friends, very nice to see you. I got these new filters here from Kase, and the thing is, this video is sponsored by Kase too, but it was me who decided on these particular filters, and it was also me who decided on Kase as a sponsor, because Kase was not the only filters manufacturer who knocked on my door for a sponsorship. And I will tell you later a bit more about why Kase and not another one. I just thought this is maybe the perfect occasion actually to show you how I decide on filters. Because it is not only how brilliant the glass is anymore, as it was some years ago. Filters of today have advantages we simply didn't have back then. Well, let's dive in. I anyway want to start with the glass, because it's still important, of course. It's logical. The light goes from our subject into our lens to our sensor, and when we put any additional glass in front of our lens, it will have any effect on our image quality. So the first important thing is that the glass is glass and not plastic actually. So when you have any older filter, and I have here one older filter, you can try this out by yourself by the way. When you hold it against the light and you just look at it, I hope you can see this here in the video now, we see that there are a lot of scratches on it. Actually, the surface is totally damaged. And this just because I wiped on it with a soft microfiber cloth. What's simply necessary from time to time, I have to say. Glass is much harder than plastic, so glass itself is definitely more resistant against scratches, but important to understand is not every glass is high quality glass. Important for me here is that it is toughened glass. Now this is better against scratches because the material is simply more hard. And this makes it also more break resistant. Glass will never be unbreakable, but toughened glass, it's quite close to that, I would say. Now, for the best possible image quality, high quality glass offers already the perfect base. But as I already mentioned, it is not only the glass. The next thing I'm looking at is the coating. A good nano coating protects the glass not only against scratches, it also leads to a really brilliant image quality. At least I would recommend choosing a filter from a manufacturer that considers color cast. Just quickly, the coating on the surface of a filter colorizes the light slightly that shines through. And so when you are photographing a nice scene, it will maybe get a tiny bit yellowish, brownish or whatever, and in the past it was not a problem at all for me when the color cast was solid over the entire frame. It is easy to fix in post-processing. And cheap filters instead tend to use poor drap matte. So it could happen that there is more coating on one side of the filter and less on the other side. So ultimately there are patches of color cast spread over the filter, and it is a nightmare to get rid of that afterwards in post-processing. So solid color cast is good. But even better is something I didn't know that it exists. I stumbled over filters a month ago which had no noticeable color cast. It was not a Kase filter to be honest, but Kase also offers this feature. I just didn't know about that. And that's really interesting. It would not be a big deal to get rid of a solid color cast through, but having no noticeable color cast offers us absolutely new doors, especially for the usage for circular polarizers. What you can do is you can take one exposure with and one without polarizing filter, and then you can blend these two images afterwards in Photoshop, so that you can adjust the polarization level afterwards in post-processing just by adjusting the opacity. And even more, by using masks, you can decide on particular areas in your composition where you want to add glare, just to support the visual flow through your image. It is a new way of dodging and burning actually, and this just works when there is no noticeable color cast on your filter glass. Because the blue image with and without filter should use equal colors, of course. And Kase filters has this feature already for years, I just didn't know about that. Now, before I will talk about the most important properties filters should fulfill, my friends, if you like this video, please give me a thumb up. You know, it helps me, it helps the algorithm, and it helps also other photographers out there to find this video better on YouTube. Thank you therefore. Well, the glass is an important thing, the coating is important, and for me it is even essential that the glass quality is on a very high level as it is for Kase filters, for instance. I would say this is the base requirement for me when choosing a filter, because I want to get image quality that is brilliant. But that's just the base requirement. The really important thing is, and that's maybe even the main reason why I decided on Kase filters and not on others, it is the usability. I mean, the best glass in the world gets worthless when the filter is not usable. And there are even more requirements I have today on filters. First of all, especially when I want to take different exposures with and without filter, or maybe even different exposures with different filters, I don't want to change my camera setup. I don't want to touch my camera all too much. So when I have to screw filters up and down between my exposures, also when I'm careful, my composition will slightly change. And I don't want that. Yeah, I mean, I work long for fine-tuning my composition on my camera display to get a strong image. So as soon as I brought my camera into setup, I simply don't want to touch it anymore. And I mean, also with Kase filters, we don't come totally away from touching our setup, but due to the magnetic system, I don't have to screw anymore. I just have to put the filter on the lens and that's it. And when I don't use it anymore, I just put it down and that's it. No screwing between my exposures. And that's a big difference in my usage. I mean, it's not totally new. Kase offers magnetic filters already for some years now with its Wolverine filters, and this is really such a big advantage when we are out in the field. It is also that we are much faster with changing filters, and sometimes we simply have to be fast, right? To get the shot before the beautiful cloud moves away or before the light ray disappears or the fog or whatever. I think the most annoying thing I experienced with filters over the years is when filters got bitten on my lens. Do you know that? When you're out in the field and your filters bite on the lens and you don't get it down anymore. And while the most beautiful scene appears in front of me and I would need another filter. Yeah, then you can either shot it, you can either shoot it with the wrong filter or with the wrong lens if you don't want to relinquish taking the shot. I always got the filter down again afterwards when everything got dried at home in the warmth. But yeah, what should I say? It doesn't help you when you're out in the field. The filter stuck to the lens. And with the magnetic system instead, I just put the filter up or down. There is nothing that bites, not even when it's called Wolverine. And that's truly a big advantage. If I would have, let's say, 5 different filters, all with very high glass quality, I would not choose the one with the best glass quality. I would choose the one with the best usability. Because ask yourself, what is the best glass quality worth when I'm not able to use it? Sometimes the best conditions appear just for a few seconds. I tested a lot of different filters over the past years from different manufacturers. And there were even some filters I liked, I have to say. Good glass, good coating even in some cases. But there was always anything, any property that forced me to compromises. The lens hood is a good example here, by the way. You know, I photograph a lot in conditions where water could fall down from above, rain for instance, or at waterfalls or in woodland after the rain. But it's already enough when there's just dew in the foliage and it starts to drop down. I come a lot in situations where I simply have to protect the glass in front of my lens against water drops. But I don't want to clean my lens or my filter before every single exposure. So I really need a lens hood for my personal photography. And this is also why I prefer round filters over square filters, by the way. Because yeah, I'm simply able to use a lens hood. But also for round filters, it is not possible to use a lens hood with every filter out there. But it is possible with Kase filters. So when we have a look at a filter from Kase, they are quite thin. The frame is quite thin, I have to say, thinner than I'm used on filters usually, I have to say. And this is also the reason why it works with a lens hood. I mean, I don't know if it works with every brand in the world out there. I just have to put it on and it simply works. I can use my lens hood with my camera. But also in case, let's say you want to stack multiple filters, let's say a circular polarizer, a 10-stop ND and a 6-stop ND, maybe to get up to really long exposures, you get also quite along here with your lens, and this could lead into vignetting. And to get rid of that, for instance, you could decide on a bigger filter's diameter to get rid of this vignetting, but then obviously your lens hood will also not be possible to use anymore, of course, because your diameter is bigger. But also therefore, Kase has a solution. They simply offer an own lens hood for Kase, and this works for the diameter you choose. So in every single case, you have the possibility to use a lens hood. And now guess what? It's also magnetic. I just have to put it on and it holds. I can use a lens hood. I think it gets clearer and clearer why I chose Kase over others, doesn't it? But when you think this is already everything, keep watching, because now there come the features I'm even totally blown away. Kase Wolverine filters are proved filters and they are used by a lot of pro photographers. They fulfill all the features I mentioned already in this video, but meanwhile Kase even improved them. And these are my new filters, the Kase Wolverine Revolution. Now the question is, how can something that is already good get already improved? That's really a good question, isn't it? And actually, it is such a simple thing, but so useful. I will keep this video short, just one or two properties maybe quickly. Just think about a usual case. You are out in the field and you need a filter and you have to go through all your filters. You have to put them out and think, which filter is this here now? Oh, that's my polarizer. No, I need not my polarizer. I need my ND6. No, this is the ND3 where I have it. You see already, it's really, I mean, it's not a big deal. I will always get to my filter I need, but it takes time. And so what Kase did is they simply colorized the filter frames. And this is absolutely amazing. Here we have a blue ring on here, for instance. So this means I can look for the color and I have the right filter. So I know, for instance, I hope you can see that silver is the polarizer, then we have blue, this is the 3-stop ND, 6-stop ND is the gold, and the red one is the 10-stop ND. I just have to remember the colors, what's not all too difficult, I think, and then I just have to look in and grab the filter with that color I need for my photography. How simple is that? And so powerful. Really, I'm so blown away by that. But there's even more. I'm sure you know the problem with stacking filters. I demonstrated that already before. When you stack multiple filters on your lens, it gets longer, it gets thicker, and obviously you get this leads into an unhappy vignetting. So the Wolverine filters were already, or they had already a really thin filter frame, but the Revolution version of the Wolverine filters offer an additional thing, and this is an inlaid ring. This is an adapter ring that comes on the lens instead of the normal adapter ring, and it is inside the lens, so it's not outside, it's inside. And this is because why you get the filter even, I would say, in millimeter maybe more to the lens, and the closer the filter is obviously to the lens, the less it will lead into vignetting. So it's really a clever idea. They really think about the problems we all face out there in location. So you see, it is not only the glass itself. The glass is important, but it is especially the usability which makes or breaks a photo. As already mentioned, Kase was not the only filters manufacturer who asked me for a sponsorship. It was especially the usability of their filters, but also their innovation which brought me to decide on Kase over others. And when I look at their products, I also think that they're also quite creative. And as I'm an artist, I like to surround myself with creative people. And there's one more thing, by the way, that's really, really important for me. You know, deciding on a sponsor always means that you have to stand behind all the sponsor's products actually. Now, just try this out by yourself. Really, really don't believe me here, just Try this out by yourself. Open the website of different filters manufacturers, also the website of Kase, and compare their assortments. And I have to say, I found a couple of filters from other manufacturers which look good to me, but Kase is really the only one where I can really say I can stand behind every single product, because they are really innovative and thoughtful that there's a use for them out on the location. I mean, leave me a comment below, just in case you would see that different. It's an open discussion, of course. I simply want to demonstrate that it was me who decided on Kase filters. Again, this video is sponsored by Kase, but I'm not paid for saying special things. I'm even allowed to be honest, and I think this is the most important thing for me. So I'm even allowed to say negative things, what's absolutely amazing. And I guess this is just because they are really convinced by themselves about their innovative products. And they also want to go on with their improvements, although the products already on a really extremely high level, I have to say. They even asked me to tell them my personal suggestions for improvements whenever I should have any. And that's amazing, isn't it? All in all, I just can say it feels right to me getting sponsored from Kase. There will also not be a big change in my future videos. I will mention Kase products just when it's relevant to the video or when I see an advantage for you as a photographer, but this will definitely not be the main content of my channel, of course. Filters are important, and in many cases they are definitely essential in many cases, but the most important thing in photography are not filters. The most important things are other things, and I made already a video about that, and I will link it here for you. My friends, I hope you liked this video of yours. Please give me a thumb up, and don't forget to tune in next week. There will come a fantastic video as well. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time. Bye.